And we're live. Hello. Hello, chat. What's up, Hope? What's up, Nikki? Nice of you guys to join. Hey, Bigfoot. Glad you guys are here. Kalila? 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 I don't know. What's up, Kalila? What's up, Streety McMeaty? Hey, Dee Dee. Nice of you guys to join. Someone last week said I should name my computer Grass Cutter. So I did. Now this computer is named Grass Cutter. My newly minted computer. Doop, doop. What up? Alright, guess what happened this week? So, like, I was sitting on my desk, like, doing some research or whatever for the next video. And I was doing some research, and then I was like, fidgeting in my chair. And I was like, the back of my chair is kind of wobbly. Like, it's a little more flexible than usual. And then I turned this way, and the freaking thing fell off. Like, the back of my chair just fell off. I was like, what the fuck? What the hell? What the hell's going on? So it broke. So the back of my chair broke for no reason. Yeah. I don't know if it was no reason. It's probably because of me. Like, it's been creaking for a while, and I've just assumed that it was a normal thing. Like, I was like, oh, this chair is old. It's probably like old chairs creak, right? So yeah. So it's been creaking for a couple of years. And I never noticed it. Or I noticed it, but I've never like paid any attention to it. Yeah, so apparently the creaking was the metal part of the chair that's holding up the back, just friggin' like slowly being grinded down over years. So now it's just broke. It's still here because I can still balance it, right? But if I move too much, it's gonna fall off. So hopefully I don't do that. Yeah. Hey, Patrick, nice of you to join. What's up, Petrie? Hey, Laura. Yeah, part 63, and you haven't even watched any of the stream. Nope. Yeah, if you want to see like the first episode, you go in the description and you can see like the entire playlist. My camera is too high. Okay, let me pull it down. How about that? Oh no. Wait, let me hold on. Drifting down. How about that? All right. I have this today. Woo! Some seaweed and salt potato chips before we start. If I can open it. All right. Let's see how this tastes. Seaweed and salt. Freaking this thing is like... You know what this tastes like? At first it tastes like the original Lay's potato chips. But then there's an aftertaste of seaweed. So there you go. Seaweed and salt. Can't really taste the seaweed. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Doesn't look too bad. My camera is like going downwards, slowly going down. Why does it do that? Seems redundant for a saltwater plant. I don't know. It's pretty good. So like original flavored salt Lay's with a little bit of a seaweed flavor. All right, let's do this. Oh, did you guys see the freaking COVID numbers in the United States? It's going back up. It's like it's almost reaching the previous peak, which is fucking ridiculous. I don't know. Like, why can't people just freaking wear masks and get the vaccine? I don't know why it has to be so politicized. But what are you gonna do? All right. So, what happened last week? Let's do a recap. So last week, Lin Pingzhi gets into a fight with Yu Canghai and Mu Gaofeng, right? So these were his two arch enemies. Yu Canghai, Yu Canghai and Mu Gaofeng, these two guys killed his parents, right, and his entire family. So he gets into a fight with them, but now he's really good, right? He's super good now because he learned the evil resisting sword art. So he's just freaking beating them up, right? And he's totally blinded by vengeance. So he cuts off the arms of Yu Canghai and blinds him, right? So now Yu Canghai is blinded and he has no arms, so he can't really fight anymore. And Lin Pingzhi just wants him to live like that, right? That was his plan. Just let this guy live, blinded and without any arms. But Yu Canghai fights to the death, and then the Pingzhi kills him, and he also kills Mu Gaofeng, right? But right before he kills Mu Gaofeng, he stabs Mu Gaofeng in the hump, because Mu Gaofeng is a humpback. He stabs him in the hump, but unfortunately, the hump contained poison, and the poison squirts into Lin Pingzhi's eyes, and it blinds Lin Pingzhi, right? But he didn't care. Lin Pingzhi didn't care. He laughed and laughed because he finally had his revenge. So afterwards, Yue Lingshan, his wife, she takes care of him. She gets him into a carriage, and then they ride away. But Ying Ying and Ling Huchang follows them from afar, right? Because they're kind of worried about what's going to happen to the couple. So they follow him from afar. Ying Ying is like hiding in the bushes, listening to their conversation. So what they're talking about. So what they're talking about is that Lin Pingzhi is suspicious of his wife. And he revealed that it was Yue Buchun, the master, right? Ling Hushang's master, and Yue Lingshan's father had stolen the evil resisting sword manual and learned it, right? So it wasn't Ling Huchang who stole it, it was the master. And it was the master's plan all along, right? From the very beginning, or at least this is what Pingzhi said, right? He said, "Oh, this is the master's plan. This has been the master's plan all along. He wanted my evil resisting sword manual of my family. And that's why he got me. That's why he invited me to join the school, right? The Huashan school. So, and he revealed that before practicing this martial arts, you had to castrate yourself, All right, so it was then that Yue Lingshan learned that her father and her husband had castrated themselves to learn this martial arts, right? And she cries and stuff. So it was a big reveal in the last chapter. And I think at the very end, there was, after they revealed everything, a bunch of horses are galloping towards the couple. And that's where we left off. How's that? Oh no, you hear limping Jew. Don't. That's not what I'm saying. That's really funny though. Do I take requests? I can listen to your request. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I don't know if I'm going to make a video out of it, but. Boop, boop, boop. How is the 11-foot 8-inch bridge doing? Remember, it's the 12-foot 4 bridge now. Let's see how it's going. Let's see if they're. I don't know if they have had any new videos lately. 8 bridge. No new video. The last video of the bridge was 4 weeks ago, and I think we already saw that one, right? Yeah, I think we already saw that one. Oops. Wait, let me change the live screen. Yeah, it was this one, right? We saw this. Red lights, overheight must turn, and this truck doesn't turn. It's going. He's going for it. He's going for it. Oh, we got a rewind cam. Holy shit. That's a total can opener. Yeah. Poor guy. What is he gonna say to his boss? Look at that. It's the entire top. Clean off. Holy moly. Anyways. Oh, Nikki. Every car it eats, it grows a fraction of an inch. I see. That's right. It was originally 11-foot 8. Now it's 12-foot 4. It's gonna grow to be the biggest bridge in the world. But then what? No, it can't grow anymore because, like, it can't eat anymore, right? If it grows too much. That dude definitely got fired. Yeah. All right. Let's do this. Yeah. I think my new computer is doing really well because I don't think it's been lagging, right? Has it been lagging? Yeah, because the old computer, man, whenever I do anything, like when I'm streaming and then I do anything else, like turn on like any extra programs, it lags. But I think we're good. Yeah, it's showing excellent connection. Woohoo! Where can you read it? Look in the description. So I have links. It's free to read. All right, chapter 36, Grief, part 1. So remember, a bunch of horses are galloping quickly through the main road, coming towards them. Ying was worried Ling Huchang might be in trouble, so she quickly used her qinggong to go back besides her carriage. Brother Chang, there are people coming. But Ling Huchang just laughed. You're eavesdropping on other people, killing chicken and feeding dog again, aren't you? Otherwise, why would you listen for so long? Peh! Ying retorted, her face becoming hot as she thought of Yue Lingshan and Lin Pingjie talking about becoming real husband and wife inside their carriage. They were talking about practicing the evil resisting sword art. You hesitated. There must be some other odd things. Quickly, come up and tell me everything. You can't hold anything back from me. Oh, he's in such a good mood. But wait till he understands what's going on. I'm not coming up. It's not proper. Why is it not proper? Ling Huchang asked while laughing. I don't know. The sound of the horse's hooves had gotten nearer by now. Ying said, I think these are the surviving Qingcheng school people coming to take their revenge. Ling Huchang sat up. Let's go there slowly. We still have a bit of time. Yes. Ying knew Ling Huchang was very concerned about Yue Lingshan and that he must help even though he was heavily injured. Moreover, her mind wouldn't be at ease if she left him by himself aboard the carriage while she went to help. She quickly supported him to get down from the carriage. Ling Huchang stepped onto the ground with his left foot and felt a slight pain in his wound, causing him to falter and bump the wheel of the carriage. The mule drawing the carriage had made no sound at all so far, but as the carriage was shaken, it thought it was being urged to move, so it lifted its head to neigh. Ying's short sword flashed, and the mule's head dropped to the ground, cleanly cut. Oh my god. There's so much abuse to freaking horses and mules in this story. Why? She's like the mountain. She just freaking cut off his head. Good, Ling Huchang lightly praised her. He wasn't actually praising her quick swordplay. With her martial art, there was nothing special for her sword to be able to cut the mule's head off in one stroke. But what was special was her quick thinking, which prevented the mule from making any noise at all. As to how the carriage was going to move later, and how they were going to travel, it was another matter. Ling Huchang had walked for several steps when he heard the horse's hooves had come even nearer. He quickened his steps. Ying pondered, he wants to get there before the enemy, so he's walking really fast. But it'll affect his wound. If I carry him, wouldn't that make him feel ashamed? She giggled and said, Brother Chang, I'm sorry. She didn't wait for Ling Huchang's answer, but extended her right hand to grab his waist, while her left hand grabbed his collar. She lifted his body up and used her qinggong to quickly go through the field of tall sorghum. Ling Huchang appreciated it, but he also felt this was funny. He thought in his heart that he was the respectable headmaster of the Hangshan school, but she was carrying him like she was carrying a baby. If someone were to see this, he would definitely lose face. But if they didn't do this, then they wouldn't be able to stay ahead of the Qingcheng school people, and little Marshall's sister would be in danger. She obviously had lifted him because she knew what he was thinking in his heart. After Ying had gone further forward for dozens of steps, the sound of the horse hooves had gotten much closer. She turned her head around, but all she could see in the darkness was dots of flames of the torches carried by the people on the horses. She said, These people are really daring. They're actually carrying fire to chase them. They're staking their lives to carry out their strike, so they don't care about anything. Aiyo, this isn't good. Ying had also thought of it, and she said, Qingcheng School wants to burn the carriage. Let's cut them off, and don't let them through. There's no need to worry. We'll be able to save the two of them. Ling Huchang knew her martial art ability. Ling Huchang knew her martial art ability. Furthermore, Yu Canghai had died, and the remaining Qingcheng school people were extremely insignificant, so he didn't worry. Ying carried Ling Huchang until they were dozens of feet away from Yue Lingshan's carriage. Then she helped him to sit within the field of tall sorghum. She whispered, Sit here quietly and don't move. Then, from inside the carriage, Yue Lingshan said, The enemy is coming quickly. Their Qincheng schools is rats. How do you know? Lin Pingzhi asked. They're carrying torches to chase us. They really are fearless. Everyone's carrying a torch? That's right. Lin Pingzhi had gone through a lot of trials and tribulations, so his mind was very meticulous, and he was much more alert than Yue Lingshan. Quickly, get down, he hastily said. Those rats are going to burn the carriage. Yes, Yue Lingshan agreed, and she also thought this was very reasonable. Otherwise, why are they carrying so many torches for? She leapt down from the carriage and extended her hand to grip Lin Pingzhi's hand. Lin Pingzhi also jumped down. The two of them walked for dozens of feet to hide within the tall sorghum, and they were actually very close to where Ling Hucheng and Ying Ying were hiding. With thunderous sound of the hooves, Qincheng school people arrived at the carriage. They first cut off its path before surrounding it from all sides. One of the people shouted, Lin Pingzhi, you dog! Are you trying to be a turtle? You still don't want to stick your head out? They heard no sound coming from inside the carriage. Another person said, I'm afraid they're gone off the carriage and fled. Ling Hucheng and Ying Ying then saw a torch arcing through the darkness as it was tossed towards the carriage. Suddenly, a hand shot out from inside the carriage, grabbed the torch, and tossed it back. The Qincheng people made a lot of noise and shouted, The dog is inside the carriage! The dog is inside the carriage! This was really beyond Ling Hucheng's and Ying Ying's expectation. They never expected there would be another strong helper inside the carriage. But Yue Lingshan was even more surprised. Lin Pingzhi and she had been talking for so long, but they never knew there was another person inside the carriage. Looking at how this person had tossed the torch back, it showed that his arm was quite strong and his martial art was quite high. The disciples of Qincheng tossed in 8 more torches, and that person tossed each one back. Even though his tosses didn't injure anyone, it stopped the remaining Qincheng disciples from throwing any more torches. They instead circled the carriage from far away and made a lot of noise. Under the firelight, everyone saw that it was a withered and sallow hand with blue veins sticking out. It was clearly the hand of an old person. A person shouted, It's not Lin Pingzhi. Another person shouted, It's not his wife either. Another person said, That son of a turtle is afraid to come out, but he's probably injured. They hesitated for a long time and saw there was no movement in the carriage at all. Suddenly, with a cry, more than 20 of them charged forward with their swords drawn to stick them into the carriage. With a loud cracking sound, a person leapt up from the top, and a sword flickered in his hand. He flew behind the Qincheng disciples and slashed out with his sword, dropping 2 Qincheng disciples to the ground. That person was wearing a yellow gown, appearing to be a person from the Songshan school. His face was covered by a piece of cloth, and only his bright eyes could be seen. His sword was wonderfully quick, and within a few moves, another 2 Qincheng disciples had been struck and dropped to the ground. Ling Hucheng was holding Ying Ying's hand, and both of them thought of the same thing. This person is also using the evil-resisting sword art. But this person wasn't Yue Buchun, judging by the shape of his body. The two of them again thought of the same thing. In this world, besides Yue Buchun, Lin Pingzhi, and Zhuo Lengchan, there's actually a 4th person who knows how to use the evil-resisting sword art? That's weird. Yue Lingshan whispered to Lin Pingzhi, This person's sword art looks similar to yours. Lin Pingzhi gasped in surprise, and he asked, He can also use my sword art? You didn't see it wrongly? After a time, 3 more Qincheng disciples were struck down by the sword. By then, Ling Huchong and Ying Ying had worked out that person's sword art. Even though this person was using the sword moves from the evil resisting sword art, his speed in jumping, rushing, and retreating was way below that of Dongfang Bubai's. He was not even as good as Yue Buchun or Lin Pingzhi, who could mysteriously appear and reappear. Appear and disappear. It was just that this person's martial art was high, and he was far above all the Qincheng disciples there. Added to that, evil resisting sword art was fantastic, so even though it was one against many, he still held the upper hand. Yue Lingshan said, "His sword art looks really similar to yours, but he's not as quick as you." Lin Pingzhi sighed and replied, "If he's not fast, he doesn't know the essence of my family's sword art then. But who is he? How does he know how to use this sword art?" As the sound of battle raged on, another Qincheng disciple was pierced by the masked person's longsword through the chest. That masked man shouted, pulled his longsword, and cut another person's waist, separating him into 2. The remaining Qincheng people trembled in fear, and 4 of them ran away. That person roared and rushed forward for 2 steps. From among the Qincheng disciples, some of them cried out and turned their heads to run away. Seeing this, the remaining disciples were discouraged, and they all fled. Some of them rode double, while some were in too much of a hurry to ride their horses, so they sprinted away on their feet. In just a moment, they all had scattered away. That masked person was obviously quite exhausted, as he propped his longsword on the ground and panted heavily. Ling Huchong and Ying Ying discovered from his gasps that just from fighting for a short time, this person had consumed a lot of internal energy, and he had probably been injured internally as well. So this masked man had just saved the couple, and he seems to be using the evil resisting sword art, but he seems to be not that good at it. Okay, so who is this person? At this time, there were around 7 to 8 torches still burning on the ground. The darkness was interspersed with light from the glinting torches. This old yellow-gowned person was gasping for breath for a long time before he lifted his longsword and slowly put it back into its sheath. Then he said, "Young hero Lin, Madam Lin, I received Songshan headmaster Zhuo's order to help." His voice was extremely faint and hoarse. Each word was uttered indistinctly, as if he had something in his mouth, or as if a part of his tongue was missing, and that his voice had come out from his throat. Oh, how do I do that? How do I do that voice? "Many thanks for your help," Lin Pingzhi replied. "Sir, please tell me your honorable name." As he said this, he walked out of the field of tall sorghum with Yue Lingshan. "Headmaster Zhu," okay, this is the guy talking. "Headmaster Zhu learned that young hero and madam were heavily injured after dealing with traitors. So he ordered me to protect you and send the 2 of you to some place safe to treat your injuries, and to make sure your father-in-law can't find you," that old person said. Ling Huchong, Ying Ying, Lin Pingzhi, and Yue Lingshan all thought, how did Zuo Langchan know about this? So remember, Zuo Langchan was the headmaster of the Songshan school. Headmaster Zuo and you have good intentions. I really appreciate it," Lin Pingzhi replied. "I'll be at your service once my injury is better, but I wouldn't dare to trouble your honorable persons." Both of young Hero's eyes were injured by the Hunchback of the North's poison. Not only would it be hard to heal, this person's poison is extremely formidable, and if not for Headmaster Zhu's Dao Gui medicine, I'm afraid it'll be hard to say what would happen to young Hero's life. After Lin Pingzhi was splashed by Mu Gaofeng's poison, both of his eyes and his whole face had been feeling extremely itchy, and that he felt like digging his own eyes out. But he endured it and had been restraining himself ever since, so he knew this person was speaking the truth. Hesitantly, he asked, Headmaster Zul and I aren't family or friends, so why is Headmaster Zul being so concerned about me? If you don't say this clearly, then it'll be difficult for me to follow your directions. Wait, why are we talking about like cheese pizza and stuff? All right, let's stop that stuff in the chat, okay? That old person let out a laugh. Sharing a common hatred is just like friendship, born out of a common cause. Both of Headmaster Zhu's eyes were harmed by Yue Bu Chun. If we look for the source of the injuries to both of your eyes, the root of the trouble was also likely to be Yue Bu Chun. Yue Bu Chun already knows that young hero has learned the evil resisting sword art, so even if young hero runs to the end of the world, he will still chase you and kill you. He's now the headmaster of the Five Mountains School, and his authority is as high as the heaven. How can young hero fight him all by yourself? Moreover, hey, Yue Bu Chun's own daughter is already accompanying young hero from dawn till dusk. Young hero has heavenly skill, but you'll still find it hard to protect yourself from the plotting from the pillow next to you. Yue Lingshan suddenly shouted, Second martial brother, so it's you! As she called this out, Ling Huchang's whole body shook. Hearing this old person speaking, even though his voice was vague, it sounded really familiar to him, and it felt like someone he knew. When he heard Yue Lingshan's shout, he immediately recognized that person to be Lao De Nuo. But Yue Lingshan had told him before that Lao De Nuo was killed by someone at Fuzhou, so he never thought this person could be him. Then what Yue Lingshan told him before must be false. Then he heard that old person coldly said, A little girl is quite alert to be able to recognize my voice. Oh wait, now he was disguising his voice. That was why he was speaking so weirdly. Little girl is quite alert to be able to recognize my voice. He didn't use his throat to speak anymore. His voice was clear, and he really was Lao De Nuo. So if you don't remember, Lao De Nuo is he was the second disciple. So Li Huchang was the first disciple in Huashan. This was the second one, right? This guy had stolen the what was that manual? The Violet Twilight Manual, which is another martial arts that belonged to the master and belonged to the Huashan school. And he had stolen it and he ran away. We thought he had died, but it turns out he didn't. And looks like he's working for the Songshan school now. Define debilitating. Debilitating means like making it so that you can't do much. Like making it like if you're debilitated, like you're hurt and you're injured or something, and then you can't do a lot of things, right? You're just a burden to people. You can't fight. You can't do anything. So like a debilitating disease would be something that hurts you a lot. That's Makes it so that, I don't know, you like can't get out of bed or something. Where is debilitating? Oh wait, debilitating wasn't in. It wasn't a word that we read in the story, right? Oh, you just asking me what debilitating means? Where are we? Second martial brother, Lin Pingzhi said. If you pretended to be killed at Fuzhou, then eighth martial brother was killed by you? No, Lao Dunois snorted. Ying Bai Luo is only a small kid. Why do I want to kill him for? You're still denying it? Yue Lingshan shouted. Little Lin was chopped with a sword from the back. This must be your doing too. I've always wrongly blamed big martial brother. You did good. You killed some old guy and chopped his face up. Then you put your gown on the dead person, so everyone thought you were killed. Your guess is right, Lao Dunois acknowledged. If I didn't do that, how can Yue Buchun let me go that easily? But I wasn't the one who slashed at young hero Lin's back. Not you? Not you? Could there be another person? Lao Dunois coldly said, It's not just another person. It's your father. Nonsense! Yue Lingshan shouted. You did this bad thing, but you're blaming someone else for it. There's nothing wrong with my father at all. Why would he want to harm Brother Ping? Because at that time, your father had already gotten the evil resisting sword manual from Ling Huchong's body. This sword manual belongs to the Lin family, so the first person Yue Buchun wanted to kill was your brother Ping. If Lin Pingzhi lives, how can your father learn the evil resisting sword art? Lao Dunois explained. Yue Lingshan didn't know how to answer. In her heart, she knew those words were logical. But she could never believe that her own father would plot against Lin Pingzhi. She also said the words nonsense, but instead, she almost said the words nonsense, but instead she said, if we take that my father was the one who wanted to harm Brother Ping, how come his sword didn't kill him? Lin Pingzhi suddenly said, this attack was really done by Yue Buchun. Second martial brother isn't wrong. Yue Lingshan stammered, You also believe this? Yue Buchun chopped at my back and injured me heavily. I knew that I had no way of fighting back, so I dropped to the ground and pretended that I died. At that time, I didn't know it was Yue Buchun who plotted against me, but as I was beginning to lose consciousness, I heard 8th Martial Brother's voice. He called out, Master! When the 8th Martial Brother called out, Master, he saved my life, but gave his life instead. Lin Pingzhi related. Okay, so Yue Buchun had tried to kill Lin Pingzhi, but it looks like this 8th martial brother had witnessed it, right? Just accidentally witnessed it, and it looks like the master killed him because of it. Startled, Yue Lingshan said, You're saying 8th martial brother was also killed by my father? Of course. After I heard 8th martial brother call out Master, he cried out miserably. Then I lost consciousness totally and didn't know anything else, Lin Pingzhi said. You feel like you're missing something, Bigfoot? What's up? What are you confused about? So if you don't remember this event, it happened like a long time ago. So yeah, you've probably forgot about it. So the 8th martial brother was a dude who died. He died, and it looks like Lao Dunois cut off the 8th martial brothers. Well, like he made a bunch of cuts to the 8th martial brothers' face to make it unrecognizable, right? and he pretended that that was him, right? So Lao Dunhuo ran away, but he made this body look like it was him. So everyone thought that Lao Dunhuo had died, but it was the 8th martial brother who had died. Lao Dunhuo continued the story. At first, Yue Buchun wanted to give you another stab, but I was watching from the dark, and I coughed lightly. Yue Buchun didn't dare to stay and quickly went back to his room. Brother Lin, my cough can be said to have saved your life. If my father really wanted to harm you, later on he had many opportunities. Why didn't he kill you then? Yue Lingshan argued. After that, I guarded every step of my way, so he had no other opportunity to kill me, Lin Pingzhi coldly said. You were actually very lucky for me. All day long we were always together, so it wasn't convenient for him to kill me. Yue Lingshan cried and said, So you took me as your wife to fool other people and also to use me as your shield. Lin Pingzhi ignored her and said to Lao Dunhuo, Brother Lao, you're working together with Headmaster Zuo now? Headmaster Zuo is my respected master. I am his 3rd disciple. So, you've changed school and entered Songshan. I didn't change school and entered Songshan. I've always been under Songshan school. It's just that I received my respected master's order to join Huashan to research on Yue Buchun's martial art, as well as to keep an eye on the movements of the Huashan school. Ling Huchong was suddenly enlightened. Before Lao Dunhuo joined the Huashan school, he already knew martial art, and everyone in the school knew this. But his martial art was very mixed and ordinary, like the martial art around the area of Yonggui. They had never suspected that he was actually a Songshan disciple, so this intention to annex the other 4 schools had actually been in Zuo Langchan's heart for a very long time, and he had actually planned this kind of move a long time ago. Then Lao Dunhuo killing Lu Dayou and stealing the Violet Twilight secret manual was obvious and was no longer a mystery. Even Master, who was always very vigilant towards other people, was deceived by him. Okay, so Lao Dunhuo looks like he was originally from the Songshan school, right? So he joined the Huashan school as a spy. And yep, he did kill Lu Dayou, who was Monkey 6. Lin Pingzhi pondered for a while, then said, In that case, Brother Lao took the Violet Twilight secret manual and evil resisting sword manual from the Huashan back to Songshan for Headmaster Zuo to practice. Your accomplishment is really great. Ling Huchong and Ying Ying were both nodding their heads. They thought, so Zuo Langchan and Lao Dunhuo are able to use the evil resisting sword art because of this. Lin Pingzhi's brain works really fast. With deep hatred, Lao Dunhuo vehemently said, I'm going to speak frankly. The 2 of us, together with my respected master, we've all fallen under this bastard Yue Buchun's hand. This person is really dangerous, and we've all fallen into his violent scheme. Hey, I understand, Lin Pingzhi said. The evil resisting sword manual you stole was an altered version by Yue Buchun. That's why Headmaster Zuo and Brother Lao's evil resisting sword art are different. Lao Dunhuo gritted his teeth and said, When I entered the Huashan school back then, Yue Buchun had already detected my deception from the outset, but he didn't do anything. He just secretly paid close attention to what I was doing. When Yue Buchun wrote the evil resisting sword manual down, the sword art looks really wonderful. but it was actually just good to look at, and it lacked the internal energy method. He deliberately prepared this fake sword manual for me to steal, so when my respected master practiced the sword art, it wasn't complete. As soon as they got into a life and death battle, he led my respected master to use this sword art so that the real art would be pitted against the fake one. By doing this, he guaranteed his own victory. Otherwise, how can the headmaster position of the Five Mountains School fall into his hand? Do, do, do. Give me a second, guys. Lin Pingzhi let out a sigh. This traitor Yue Buchun really is crafty and fierce. Both of us have really fallen into his trap. My respected master understands this matter. My respected master understands this matter completely. Even though I ruined everything, he didn't blame me at all. But how can I, as his disciple, be at peace knowing this? So I'm staking my life to climb the mountain of sabers and walk through fire to kill that traitor Yue Buchun and avenge my respected master. These words were said with venom and anger by Lao Denois. It was obvious that this was a matter gnawing deeply in his heart. Yeah, people in chat were talking about. If you don't know what they're talking about, then don't worry about it. But it's not good. Definition of vehemently, said with like venom and anger. So this guy was speaking vehemently. He was speaking like with a lot of anger and venom. Like bad vibes, I guess. Or strongly? How about strongly? In a forceful, passionate, or intense manner with great feeling. Does that count? I think that counts, right? Let me know if you think that counts. I said strongly, like right before I looked up the answer. Wait, where am I? Lin Pingzhi hummed. Hummed? Oh, he's like, Lao Denois went on, both of my respected masters' eyes were harmed, so he's secretly staying on Songshan's west peak. On the west peak, there are more than 10 other people whose eyes are also bad. They were harmed by Yue Buchun and Ling Huchong. Brother Lin, come with me to see my respected master. Your Fuzhou's is Lin family's sole heir to the evil resisting sword school, so you're the headmaster of the evil resisting sword school. My respected master, of course, will treat you with respect. If both of your eyes can be cured, then that would be best. Otherwise, you can secretly hide with my respected master and together plan your revenge. How can that not be wonderful? Is my voice doing okay today? No, it's not. My voice is not doing okay. I don't know why. It kind of count? It did not count? Hmm. I think we're up. Oh, Patrick said it counts. So that's more people saying it counts than it did not, I think. So I think I win. I think that's a win for me. Vehement. It means strongly. Okay. All right, so this Lao Dunhua is inviting Lin Pingzhi to join the Songshan school, or at least hide within the Songshan school to plot their revenge, right? Revenge against Yue Buchun. These words excited Lin Pingzhi. Both of his eyes had been poisoned, and he himself knew that there was no hope for a cure. All of these talks of curing his eyes were only to cheat and comfort himself. Zhuo Langchan and he were both blind, and they both had the same problem and the same enemy. So this was already very good. But he knew Zhuo Langchan's methods tend to be very fierce. So when Zhuo Langchan suddenly turned nice toward him, there was bound to be another plan behind this. Lin Pingzhi said, "Headmaster Zul has a very good idea, but I don't know how I can repay him for this. Can Brother Lao please tell us more first?" Lao Dunhua laughed. Brother Lin is an unequivocal person. Once everyone has joined forces, then everything will become clear. My master and I were duped by Yue Buchun with an incomplete sword manual, so of course I'm not resigned to it. Along the way, I saw Brother Lin's immense power and wonderfully matchless sword art in the killing of Mu Gaofeng and the execution of Yu Canghai and the Qincheng clowns. They were all scattering away at the mere sight of you. It's obvious you have the real evil-resisting sword art. I really admire you and find you interesting. Lin Pingzhi understood his intention, so he interrupted. Brother Lao wants me to let you and your master have a look at the evil-resisting sword manual. This is the Lin family's secret, and outsiders mustn't peep into it. But from today onwards, we'll form an alliance in blood to kill Yue Buchun. If Brother Lin's eyes are cured, you're still too young and have a lot of energy. You're still young and have a lot of energy, so you wouldn't be afraid to face him by yourself. But looking at the situation today, if my respected master and I learn the evil-resisting sword art, then the three of us can join hands, and only then will we have a hope of killing Yue Buchun. Brother Lin, please, don't blame me, Lao Dunhua said. Lin Ping, yeah. Like, everyone is after his martial arts. Poor guy. Poor Lin Pingzhi. Like, everyone is after his martial arts and they're willing to do anything to get it. Lin Pingzhi was thinking in his heart, both of my eyes are blind and I actually don't know how I'll be able to survive. Moreover, if I didn't promise this, then Lao Dunhua will kill both him and Yue Lingshan. If Lao Dunhua has spoken sincerely, then his proposal has more benefit than harm. He replied, I'm flattered that Headmaster Zul and Brother Lao wish to be allied with me. My whole family has been broken up and decimated, and I'm already a handicapped person with no sight, even though my misfortune was mainly because of Yu Canghai. Yue Buchun's plotting was also the main reason for this. So I have the same idea as you and your master to execute Yue Buchun. Once we're allies, I wouldn't dare to keep this evil-resisting sword manual as a secret. I'll take it out and give it to you and your master to peruse. Okay, he agreed. I'll take it out and give it to you and your master to peruse. Lao Dunhua was exultant. Brother Lin is very generous. My master and I are very appreciative to be able to look at the real evil-resisting sword manual. From today onwards, Brother Lin will forever be our Songshan School's honored guest. You and I will be like brothers, and we'll share everything. Many thanks. I'll follow Brother Lao back to Mount Songshan. After that, I'll immediately recite the evil resisting sword manual out for you and your master. Recite it out? That's right. Brother Lao doesn't know that the real evil resisting sword manual was actually recorded by my great-grandfather Yuan Tu on a Buddhist robe. This Buddhist robe was stolen by Yue Buchun so he could pry into my family's sword art. Later on, he made a mistake, and this Buddhist robe fell into my hands. I was really afraid that Yue Buchun might find out, so I memorized this sword manual and quickly destroyed the robe. If I had hidden that Buddhist robe on my body, and with my worthy wife besides me, how could I still live till today? Yue Lingshan had been staying quiet and listening from the side all this time, but when she heard him ridiculing her, she cried again. She sobbingly said, "Hugh! Lao de Noir was already inside the carriage listening to their dialogue before, so he knew that Lin Pingzhi was telling the truth. That's very good. Why don't we go back to Songshan together? Very good, Lin Pingzhi replied. Oh no. Yue Buchun's kinda got it coming? Yeah, think so, maybe. The definition of peruse. Alright, where did he say this? I'll take it out and give it to your master. You and your master to peruse. Peruse means like to read over, right? Or investigate, to look over. I'm pretty confident of this. Yeah, to read typically in a thorough or a careful way. We must abandon the carriage and get some horses to ride through the small roads. Otherwise, if we meet Yue Buchun along the way, we won't be his match at all, Lao de Noir said. He then turned his head slightly and asked Yue Lingshan, Little martial sister, are you going to help your father? Or are you going to help your husband? Ooh. Yue Lingshan stopped weeping and said, I'm not helping anyone. I'm a cruelly fated person. I'll become a nun tomorrow. I'm finished with my father and husband. I won't see any of you again from now on. Lin Pingzhi coldly said, It really befits you to become a nun at Hangshan. Yue Lingshan angrily replied, Lin Pingzhi, when you had nowhere to go, my father helped you. If not for him, you'd have died under Mu Gaofeng's hand and would not still be alive today. Even if you reasoned my father was rude to you, I wasn't being rude to you. What do you mean by those words? What's my meaning? I want to make everything clear to Headmaster Zhuo. His voice sounded very fierce. Suddenly, Yue Lingshan cried out miserably. Ling Hucheng and Ying Ying cried out at the same time. Oh no! They immediately leapt out from the field of tall sorghum. Ling Hucheng shouted, Lin Pingzhi, don't harm little martial sister. At this time, the two people Lao de Noir was most scared of were Yue Buchun and Ling Hucheng. When he suddenly heard Ling Hucheng's voice, he was startled out of his wits. He quickly grabbed Lin Pingzhi's left shoulder and jumped onto one of the Qincheng disciples' horses. Then he put his heels to the horse and galloped away in a mad rush. Ling Hucheng was worried about Yue Lingshan, so he had no time to chase the enemy. He saw Yue Lingshan lay slumped on the driver's seat with a sword sticking out of her chest. He looked for her breath and found it to be slow and faint. Ling Hucheng shouted, Little martial sister! Little martial sister! Is it big martial brother? Yue Lingshan asked faintly. Ling Hucheng happily replied, Yes, it's me. He extended his hand to pull the sword out, but Ying Ying hastily stopped him. You can't pull the sword out. Ling Hucheng saw that the sword had penetrated half a foot deep into her body, and it was a fatal injury. If he half a foot? Oh, yeah, that's pretty big. If he pulled out the sword, she would die straight away. He didn't know what to do, and his heart was grieved. He started to cry and called out, little Marshall's sister. Big Marshall brother, it's already good that you're here with me. Brother Ping, has he gone? Ling Huchang gritted his teeth, and with tears running down his cheeks, he said, Don't worry, I'll definitely kill him to avenge you. Don't. His eyes are already blind. If you want to kill him, he wouldn't be able to fight back. I want to go to Mom. Oh, all right. I'll take you to Master Wife. Ying heard Yue Lingshan's voice was becoming fainter and fainter, and knew that she only had a very short time left in this world. She couldn't help shedding her tears. Big Marshall brother, you've always treated me well, Yue Lingshan said. I'm sorry. I'm going to die. Ling Huchang shed his tears. You can't die. We'll think of a way to cure you. I'm hurt deeply. Big Marshall brother, I want to ask you for something. You must promise me. Ling Huchang gripped her left hand and said, Say it, I promise. Yue Lingshan sighed. You don't agree. I've asked too much of you. Her voice was becoming softer and softer, and her breath becoming weaker. I promise. Say what you want. What did you say? I promise. What do you want me to do? I'll do it for you. Big Marshall brother, my husband, Brother Ping, his eyes are blind. He's pitiful, do you know? Yes, I know. He's all by himself in this world. Everyone bullies him. Big Marshall brother, after I die, please take good care of him. Don't let him be bullied. Ling Huchang was startled. He never expected Yue Lingshan to still hold on to the feelings that she had for Lin Pingzhi when Lin Pingzhi was her violent killer. At that moment, Ling Huchang really detested Lin Pingzhi, and all he wanted to do was chop him into thousands of pieces. In the future, it would already be almost impossible for him to spare his life, so how could he agree to look after this bastard? Yue Lingshan slowly said, Big Marshall brother, Brother Ping, he didn't really want to kill me. He's afraid of my father. He wanted to gain Zuo Longchan's trust, so he stabbed me first. Ling Huchang angrily said, That selfish, ungrateful bastard. You still care for him? He didn't deliberately try to kill me. It's just that his hand slipped. Big Marshall brother, I beg you to look after him. As the moonlight reflected off her face, Ling Huchang can see her eyes were unfocused, and her pupils were dull, entirely unlike her normally clear, bright eyes. A few drops of blood were splashed on her cheeks, and her earnest face was begging him. Ling Huchang thought of the past 10 years he had together with his little Marshall sister while they were at Huashan, holding hands and traveling everywhere. Sometimes, when she wanted him to do something, she would show this earnest-looking expression to him. No matter how difficult that thing was, even if it violated what his heart wished for, he had never refused her even once. This time, her earnest request was full of grief. She knew clearly she only had a short time left, and that she didn't have another opportunity to ask Ling Huchang for anything else. This was the last and most pressing, earnest request from her. All of a sudden, Ling Huchang felt his chest feeling hot, and he knew if he promised her this, then not only would there be endless trouble in the future, he would even be forced to do many things that he wouldn't be willing to do. But looking at Yue Lingshan's earnest and sorrowful look, he nodded his head. Fine, I promise you. You can put your heart at ease. Ying heard him and couldn't help to interrupt. How can you promise that? Yue Lingshan tightly... that's Ying Ying. Ying heard him and couldn't help interrupt him. How can you promise that? Yue Lingshan tightly gripped Ling Huchang's hand. Big Marshall brother, many thanks. I'm at ease. Her eyes suddenly shone, and the edge of her mouth smiled, looking like she was very satisfied. Ling Huchang saw her expression and thought, Just being able to see her happy. It doesn't matter how much trouble and pain I have to go through. It's all worth it. All of a sudden, Yue Lingshan softly sang a song? Okay. Ling Hucheng felt as if his chest had just received a thump as he heard her singing a Fujian folk song. She was singing the tune Sisters Going Up the Mountain to Pluck Tea. This was the Fujian folk song that Lin Pingzhi had taught her. That day on the cliff of contemplation, his heart hurt like it was twisted because he heard her singing this folk song. Now, as she sang this song again, she was thinking of the sweet days Lin Pingzhi and she had shared while they were at Huashan. The sound of her song was becoming fainter, and her grip on Ling Hucheng's hand gradually loosened. She at last released her hold and slowly closed her eyes. She had stopped singing, and her breathing had also stopped. Ling Hucheng's heart sank. It felt as if the whole world had also died. He wanted to cry, but he couldn't. He extended both of his hands and carried Yue Lingshan's body. He softly said, little martial sister, don't be afraid. I'm going to carry you to your mom. No one will bully you anymore. Okay. Does she deserve a bell, guys? A bell toll? Oh, there goes Yue Lingshan. She dead. She totally dead. Ying Ying saw a red patch at the back of his body. His wound had burst open again, and blood was oozing out of it. The patch of blood on his gown was getting larger and larger, but looking at the situation, she didn't know how to advise him. Ling Hucheng absent-mindedly carried Yue Lingshan's body for more than 10 steps while he kept on mumbling, little martial sister, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I'll carry you to Master Wife. Suddenly, both of his knees lost strength, and he fell down onto the ground and lost consciousness. When he became half aware, he heard a crisp and clear sound of a zither. The zither sound repeated itself, playing a tune that sounded familiar to him, and he was enjoying it immensely. His whole body felt weak, and he didn't even feel like opening his eyelids. He only hoped that he could listen to the sound of the zither forever. The zither sound really didn't stop and continued playing. After listening to it for a while, Ling Hucheng fell asleep again. The second time he became conscious, the quiet and beautiful zither sound was still playing, and he could also smell a fragrant scent. He slowly opened his eyes and saw all sorts of flowers put in front of it. Red flowers, white flowers, yellow flowers, purple flowers. They were all piled in front of him. He wondered, what is this place? Hearing the zither sound repeating, he realized it was the tune Ying Ying often played, called the Song of Peace and Serenity. He turned his head around and saw the back of Ying Ying's body. She was sitting on the ground, gently playing the zither. Gradually, he realized they were inside a cave. The sunshine entered from the mouth of the cave as he lay on a bed of soft grass. Ling Hucheng wanted to sit up, as he tried, the grass underneath him made a rustling sound. The zither sound stopped abruptly, and Ying Ying turned her head around, looking at him, looking very happy. She slowly walked up to Ling Hucheng and sat beside him. Her eyes stayed on him for the whole time, and her face was overflowing with tender affection. All right. 5-minute break, guys. All right. We'll continue this after 5 minutes. All right. Be right back. And we're back. Back. All right. This is a fun scene. So she's playing the zither for him, just like when they met, if you remember. In a brief moment, Ling Hucheng's heart swelled with happiness. He knew he had lost consciousness after he had seen Yue Lingshan die miserably, and Ying Ying had helped him into this cave. He suddenly felt a wave of sadness in his heart, but gradually he felt unbounded warmth and tenderness coming from Ying Ying's eyes. The two of them affectionately sat opposite each other for a long time without saying anything. Ling Huchong extended his left hand and lightly caressed the back of Ying Ying's hand. Suddenly, in the midst of the fragrance from the flowers, he smelled roasted meat in the air. Ying Ying took a branch full of stringed-up frogs and laughingly said, "They're burnt again." Ling Huchong burst into laughter. Oh, is this are they gonna do it in this scene? Is this their love scene? The two of them were brought back to the day beside the creek when they caught some frogs and burnt them. From the first time they had eaten frogs together to this second frog feast, many things had happened in between, but the two of them were still together at the end. After having a few laughs, Ling Huchong's heartache returned, and he started shedding some tears again. Ying Ying helped him to sit up, pointing to the mountain outside. She softly said, "Miss Yue is buried there." Holding back his tears, Ling Huchong said, Many thanks." Ying Ying slowly shook her head. "There's no need to thank me. Every person has his own fate, and every person also has his own action and reward." Ling Huchong felt apologetic. "Ying Ying, I can never forget the feelings I have for my little martial sister. Please, don't blame me." "Of course I don't blame you. If you were just a man who likes to play around and look for girls all the time, then I wouldn't have cared about you." She then whispered, "The reason I started adoring you is because you told me how much you love your little martial sister at the bamboo lane in Luoyang. Miss Yue was a good lady, but she wasn't destined to be with you. If you didn't grow up with her and she had seen you later, she would most probably have liked you." Ling Huchong pondered for a long time. Yeah, because they grew up together. She only thought of him as her brother, not as a lover. Ling Huchong pondered for a long time, then shook his head. She wouldn't. Little Martial's sister looked up to my master, so the man she liked must be similar to her father, a man of few words who carry himself in a stately manner. I'm only her playmate. She had never respected me. Ying Ying said, "Maybe what you said is right. It just happened that Lin Pingzhi is similar to your master, very proper, but with a belly full of secret plots." Ling Huchong sighed. Just before little Martial's sister died, she still didn't believe Lin Pingzhi truly meant to kill her, and she still loved him completely. That's also very good. She wasn't grieved at all before she died. I want to see her grave. Ying Ying held his arm as they walked out of the cave. Ling Huchong saw the grave was made up of a pile of rocks. Even though the rocks were of uneven size, they were organized neatly. In front and at the back of the grave were fresh flowers. Seeing they were done by Ying Ying, he felt appreciative towards her. A cut tree trunk was erected in front of the grave, and words were written on it with a sword point. Tomb of Heroine Yue Lingshan from Huashan. Ling Huchong was startled and shed more tears. He said, "Perhaps little Martial's sister would have liked to be called Madame Lin." Would have liked to be called Madame Lin. "Lin Pingzhi is such a ruthless and unrighteous person. In the netherworld, Miss Yue would have understood his wicked heart, and she wouldn't want to be called Madame Lin." While she thought in her heart, "You don't know Lin Pingzhi and she were..." Wait, what? While she thought in her heart, "You don't know Lin Pingzhi and she were husband and wife in name only. They're not real husband and wife." "You're probably right," Ling Huchong agreed with her. He then saw mountain peaks surrounding them on every side, and realized that they were inside a valley. The forests were the color of deep green, and mountain flowers grew everywhere. Birds were calling out continuously from the top of the trees. It was a very secluded and quiet place they were in. We'll stay here for some time to look after your injury and the grave, Ying Ying suggested. Ling Huchang replied, That's very good. Little Marshall's sister is alone in this wilderness. Even if she had become a ghost, she'll still be timid. When Ying Ying heard him say such a sentimental word, she couldn't help sighing. The two of them lived in the valley comfortably, eating frogs and picking fruits. Ling Huchang only had an external injury, so with Hangshan School's medicine applied externally and taken orally, along with his abundant internal energy, he was mostly recovered from his injury after staying there for more than 20 days. While he was recuperating, Ying Ying taught him how to play the zither every day. Ling Huchang was very intelligent and he concentrated fully on this practice, so he advanced very quickly. One day, he woke up early in the morning and saw several small shoots had already grown out from Yue Lingshan's grave. Ling Huchang thought, There are shoots already at little Marshall's sister's grave now. How is she inside the grave? Good morning, Jade. How you doing? Bloop, 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 bloop. Suddenly, the sound of a bamboo flute came from behind his back. He turned his head around and saw Ying Ying was sitting on a piece of rock, playing the Song of Peace and Serenity with a bamboo flute. Oh yeah, I forgot. She can play both the zither and the flute. He walked over to her and saw it was a new flute Ying Ying had made from a bamboo branch by using her sword and perforating holes through it. He took the zither and put it across his knee and started playing, following the tune she was playing. As he gradually put his mind into playing the tune, there was no other thought. When the song was completed, he felt his vigor greatly roused. They smiled at each other. Ying Ying said, You're already familiar with this Song of Peace and Serenity. Today, let's practice the Smiling Proud Wanderer. What do you think? That song is difficult to play. I don't know when I'll be able to play it together with you. Ying Ying smiled. This music is very profound. I also still don't understand many parts of it. There is something different with this song. It's hard to explain, but it seems if two people were to play it together, they'd be able to enlighten each other. Compared to one person fumbling around, we'll definitely advance much faster. Ling Huchang clapped and said, You're right. On that day when I heard the Hangshan School's martial uncle Liu and Sun Moon Sect's elder Chu playing this song together, the zither and the bamboo flute were in harmony, and their sound was really moving. Martial Uncle Liu said that this song was originally for a zither and a bamboo flute to play together. You play the zither, I play the flute. We'll slowly practice it part by part. Ling Huchang smiled, but it's a pity it's a flute and not a sei. Zither and sei are very harmonious together, and it would have been wonderful. So apparently the sei is similar to the zither. It has 25 strings, while the zither has only 7. Ying Ying's face turned red, and she replied, These last few days I haven't heard you speaking any satirical remarks, and I thought you've changed, but you're still the same. Ling Huchang made a face at her. He knew Ying Ying was very shy. Even though they were in a secluded valley, and there were only the two of them there, she never allowed him to speak indecently. He was afraid if he jested a bit more, she would ignore him for the rest of the day. So he quickly went near her to look at the music score. After listening to her explanations, he started to play his part. Playing the zither wasn't an easy matter. Added to that, the song Smiling Proud Wanderer was very profound with a lot of complicated changes, so this made the playing even more difficult. But Ling Huchang was bright, and he was also being directed by a master. Uh-oh, is he gonna learn how to play this song? Huh? Is he gonna learn the Smiling Proud Wanderer song? Additionally, he had also improved a lot in his zither playing from the time he started studying it at Bamboo Lane, since he had been practicing it every day he got. Even though it was hard for them to be harmonious in the beginning, slowly they finally managed to play well together. Even though their playing couldn't be as wonderful as that of Liu and Chu, there was a hint of a rhythm in their playing. Within the next 10 days, the two of them became very close to playing the zither and flute together harmoniously. This calm surrounding of this green valley separated them from the world, and gradually they came to forget everything about the fierce fighting in Jianghu. Both of them felt if they could spend the rest of their lives in that green valley and not be drawn into the killings in Wulin, then they would be very happy. One afternoon, after Ling Huchong and Ying Ying had been playing together for more than an hour, Ling Huchong's internal energy was suddenly disturbed and his mind not tranquil. He made a few mistakes and his heart became more worried, which made his fingering method become even more chaotic. Ying Ying asked, "Are you tired? Rest for a while before continuing." "I'm tired, but not tired. I don't know what's wrong. I feel a bit agitated. I'm going to pick some peaches. We'll practice again at night." "All right, don't go too far." Ling Huchong knew there were a lot of wild peach trees southeast of the valley, which would have ripened by now. He passed through the bushes and went around 8 to 9 li before arriving at the grove of wild peach trees. He leapt up and picked 2 peaches. The second time he leapt, he picked 3 peaches. He saw the peaches were quite ripe, and there were already a lot of peaches on the ground, which had fallen from the trees. In the next few days, all the peaches might have fallen down and become rotten on the ground. He quickly picked dozens more, and he thought, after we eat these peaches, we'll spread the seeds all over the valley. Then in a few years' time, there will be peach trees everywhere. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Then he suddenly thought of the Peach Valley 6 fairies. With peach trees growing everywhere in this valley, wouldn't this be called a Peach Valley? Then will Ying Ying and I become the Peach Valley 2 fairies? Later on, we'll have 6 children. Wouldn't they become the Little Peach Valley 6 fairies? If those Little Peach Valley 6 fairies talk like the old Peach Valley 6 fairies, wouldn't that be troublesome? He was just about to laugh, thinking about this, when he suddenly heard a sound from somewhere far amongst the trees. Ling Huchong immediately hid himself in the tall grass. He thought, my mouth's getting tired of eating frogs and fruits. That sound must be some kind of a beast. Ying Ying will be very happy if I can catch an antelope or a deer. He had not finished thinking when he heard the sound of footsteps. It was the sound of 2 people walking. Ling Huchong started. How can there be people in this valley? They must have come here because of Ying Ying and me. Then he heard the voice of an elder saying, "You're not wrong. Yue Buchun will definitely come here." Ling Huchong was even more confounded. He thought, they're chasing my master? Who are these people? Another person with a low and deep voice said, "Fragrant Master Shi has already asked around. Yue Buchun's daughter and son-in-law suddenly went missing, and we couldn't find a single trace of them in any market, town, pier, or river. They must have hidden themselves in a nearby valley to look after their injuries. Sooner or later, Yue Buchun will come here to look for them." Ling Huchong's heart ached as he thought, so they know little Marshall's sister was injured, but they don't know she's already dead. A lot of people must be looking for her whereabouts, especially Master and Master Wife. If not for this valley being completely secluded, they would have searched this place a long time ago. That elder then said, "If you didn't guess wrong, then Yue Buchun would come here sooner or later. Let's set up an ambush at the entrance of this valley." The person with a low and deep voice said, oh, wait. Alright, I need to differentiate their voices. "If Yue Buchun doesn't come, then we can lead him here after we set up the ambush. That elder clapped twice and said, "This plan is wonderful. Brother Swear, I never thought you have so many ideas." That person surnamed Sue replied, "Elder Gear said it well. Subordinate hopes that you'll be able to promote me. If Elder has anything for me to do, I'll do it with all my heart and power to repay Elder's kindness." Ling Hucheng felt disappointed as he thought, so they're Ying Ying's subordinates from the Sun Moon sect. It's best if they go far away from here and don't disturb Ying Ying and me. He also thought, at this time, masters martial art must have advanced greatly. Even though there are many of them, they're still not masters' match. No one in Wulin is capable of matching the masters' skill and intelligence. With only their intelligence, how can they even hope to ambush master? This is called playing with axe in front of Luban. Suddenly, 3 clapping sounds were heard from somewhere afar. That person surnamed Sue said, "Elder Du also has arrived." Elder Ge also clapped for 3 times. The sound of footsteps was heard as 4 people hurried to come to them. 2 of these people had very heavy footsteps, and as they got nearer, Ling Hucheng thought they were carrying something. Elder Ge happily said, "Elder Du, did you capture the Yue family's little girl? You've done a great achievement." A person laughed loudly and said, "Ha ha ha! It's from the Yue family, but it's the big girl, not the little one." Elder Ge gasped in surprise, sounding like he was surprised and happy at the same time. How? You captured Yue Buchun's wife? Oh crap. Ling Hucheng was greatly surprised, and he immediately wished to go out to help, but he recalled that he wasn't carrying a sword with him. With no sword in his hand, his martial art was just ordinary. This made him really worried. He then heard Elder Du say, "You're not convinced?" Elder Ge replied, "Madame Yue's swordplay is good. How did Brother Du manage to capture her? Ah, you must have used the confusion poison." Elder Du laughed. "Ha ha ha. This lady arrived in a restaurant absent-mindedly and just drank her bowl of tea without thinking. Other people said Yue Buchun's wife Ning Zhongzhi is great, but she's actually nothing." Ling Hucheng got angry and secretly thought, my master wife heard her beloved daughter was injured and missing, but she couldn't find her after dozens of days of searching. Of course her mind would be at chaos. This is her cherished daughter we're talking about. How can you call her nothing? I'm going to kill each one of you with my sword for insulting my master wife. He then thought, how can I snatch a sword? If no sword, then a saber will do. Then he heard Elder Ge say, since we have already captured Yue Buchun's wife, things are going well. Brother Du, the plan right now is how do we lead Yue Buchun here? What do we do after we lead him here? Elder Du questioned. Elder Ge hesitated before saying, we'll use this lady as hostage and force him to abandon his sword. I expect the Yue Buchun husband and wife would have deep feelings toward each other, so he wouldn't dare to defy us. What Brother Ge said was very reasonable, but I'm afraid if Yue Buchun's heart is very violent and the feelings between him and his wife aren't deep, then things might get a little thorny for us, Elder Du reasoned. Brother Sui, what do you think? Elder Ge said. That person surnamed Sui said, in front of the 2 elders, it's not subordinates' place to speak out. He only said till here when there was another 3 clapping sound coming from the west. Elder Du said, Elder Bao has arrived. Well, there's a lot of elders. In a short time, 2 people flew in from the west, and their footsteps were really quick. Elder Ge said, Elder Mo has also arrived. Ling Hucheng quietly called out in misery. Hearing their footsteps, it seems that these 2 people's martial arts are even higher than Du and Ge. How can I save Master Wife with only my bare hand? He then heard Elder Du and Ge call out together, Brother Mo and Bao have arrived. This is really good. Elder Ge also said, Brother Du has done a great service by capturing Yue Bu Chun's wife. An elder happily said, Wonderful, wonderful. The two of you have worked hard. Elder Gu said, That's Elder Du's accomplishment. That elder replied, We all received Chief's order to handle this thing. No matter who did it, we'll all get a share of the Chief's good fortune. And we're done. We are done with chapter 64. All right. Did you guys like that? That was a pretty big chapter too. So it looks like that Lao De Noir guy, the second in command of the Huashan school, was a traitor, or he was a spy, right, from the Songshan school. And now he has recruited Lin Pingzhi to join the Songshan school, or at least be allies with them. And Lin Pingzhi, because he wanted to show his loyalty to the Songshan school, he killed his wife, right? He killed Yue Lingshan. Now she's dead. Which sucks. And now it looks like the master wife has been kidnapped by these people. Yeah, rip Yue Lingshan. Yeah, we didn't really like her. She was kind of a brat, all right? We were shipping Ying Ying instead of her. But she was a big character. She was a major character, and Ling Husheng really liked her. And now she's gone. Yeah, and turns out Lin Pingzhi is a kind of a brat and a fucking bastard, right? He's pretty evil at this point. Let's do a bell for Yue Lingshan. All right, there's only a few more chapters left. Oh my god. There's 7 more left, you guys. We're rushing towards the end. Towards the end of the story. What will happen next? All right. Cheers. She didn't deserve that death. Yeah, no one deserves that death. No one deserves to be killed by their husband. Unfortunately. All right. Well, thanks for joining. We're almost done with the entire novel. All right, we got like what, 2 months left. So, thanks for joining. I love you, and I'll see you later. Bye.